Okay, again, Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. This is slide number 2 for today's topic, meetings. All right, the previous slide I already explained types of meeting. We have formal, we do have informal as well. So for this one, I will go into details on what is the meeting looks like. All right, so what will you learn from this slide is basically to write notices of meeting with grammatically correct sentences and accurate format, participate actively in meetings using appropriate language function, and the last one, produce minutes of meeting based on the meeting conducted. All right, so these are the three things that you need to learn, all right, based on this whole topic. All right, I know, again, I always said this, even in the previous slide, I said you have been involved in many types of meeting before, whether it's informal, whether it's informal or whatsoever. However, this is the time I think you have to conduct it in totally full in English. Okay, so it might be a different little bit, it might be in a different environment, and I need you to stay focused on what that I'm going to explain, because there are words that you need to use, okay, and if you don't use the word, your marks will be deducted. All right, that's why I decided for this class to be in the video, because you can repeat the video, you can follow the instruction dan sebagainya. So points to ponder: when you are having a meeting, you need to consider this 4W1H. What were the topics of the meeting that you have attended? Who were involved in the meetings? How were the members called to attend the meeting? What were the procedures, steps involved in the meeting? And the last one was the meeting formal or informal? All right, so these are the things that you need to think before you have a meeting. All right, you need to have an idea on what to be discussed. And usually, during the assessment, not usually, every time during the assessment, I will give you a situational question. For example, your team has to conduct a charity program in UTHM for around in January. So you have to have a meeting to discuss on that particular, what we call that, details, to decide on which one, uh, who are the one who is actually responsible to each type of task dan sebagainya. Alright, so you have to start having a meeting based on that particular situation. Alright, so introduction, what is a meeting? And I believe you know what is a meeting. A meeting is where you gather you gather a group of people that you've known, or maybe in your society, in an association, or you have the same, what we call that, the same, at least the same agenda. For example, you are in a group of JPAM, or you are in the, what we call that, a group kebudayaan of UTHM or whatsoever, cultural and traditional association, or maybe any types of association, the one that you have the same agenda. Alright, bukannya awak suka-suka panggil orang and then you have a meeting, tak boleh. Alright, an assembly of people may refer to members of a society or a committee. Yes, the one that I already explained before. Okay, so types of meeting, we do have two types of meeting. The one that I already discussed before, the first one is formal, the second one is informal. Formal, annual general meeting, committee meetings. Informal, brainstorming sessions, discussions, dialogues, or whatever that you have discussion in the mama or whatsoever. Those are what we call as informal meeting. Purpose and objective. Reason for the meeting, objective is actually to have something to be done, or to accomplish something, or maybe to decide on something. To have an effective meeting, the person who calls for the meeting should have a clear purpose on the objective. So the purpose and objective is basically came from me. All right, I'm the one who will give you a situation that you need to discuss, but the chairperson needs to coordinate the meeting to make it successful. All right, at the end of the day, you have someone to do this, you have someone to do that, you have someone to do this and to do that. Okay, and that is the purpose of the meeting, to delegate the task dan sebagainya. The purpose of the meeting would normally be to share information, to announce or discuss about plans and programs, and the last one is to introduce new members of the staff. Okay, this is very cliche, I don't want to share you that so much. So this is the diagram of that particular meeting. So in the meeting, we do have planning, notice, agenda, minutes, and the participants. All right, so basically in the planning stage, all right, usually in the real world situation, or I'm not saying about this course, I'm saying about the real world situation. For example, you are working with the company XYZ. The company XYZ, they have their own ahli lembaga pengarah, contohnya 5 orang. And then they have their own secretary of the office, 1 person. So basically, when they want to have a meeting, this ahli lembaga pengarah, the shareholders and whatsoever, they will discuss together along with the secretary, all right, to have a meeting on what? Understand? That is the planning stage. The next stage is the notice. Once they have successfully decided, all right, when they want to have a meeting, what to be discussed, and blah, 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 the secretary will come up with a notice, or we call that as surat arahan, surat panggilan kemesyuarat. And then in that particular notice, it should contain all the agendas. What is the agenda? Agenda are the things that to be discussed during the meeting. For example, agenda number 1, discuss about the committee members. Agenda number 2 is to decide on which person who on which task. Agenda number 3, to coordinate the programs. Agenda number 4, and blah, 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 blah. So when you have the agenda, when you do the meeting will follow accordingly with the agenda. Understand? So meeting tu tidak melewer-lewer, melewe-lewe kalau orang Melayu kata, ataupun tidak panjang yang tak apa-apa. So that is the agenda. Right after the meeting, alright, it should have been recorded by the secretary. Secretary will record all the information using the minutes, alright. So we call that as minutes of meeting. As well, I mean, obviously at the end of the day, the meeting should have a participants lah. Alright. So basically, these are the diagram, the full diagram of how the meeting should be. Okay. Notice of a meeting. Notice of a meeting is a public announcement. Alright. As I said just now, surat panggilan mesyuarat. A notice of a meeting must be distributed at least 5 to 7 days before the set date of the meeting. Usually, we call that as 5 to 7 days. But if you're working in the private companies, I'm pretty sure they can call a meeting as soon as within an hour. Alright, for example, the boss turun, dia dapat what we call it, he has certain issue, he calls all the committee members that related to that department. Okay, jom kita ada meeting petang ni juga. Alright, so basically in a formal way, in a government style, okay, we do have 5 to 7 days prior to the meeting. However, when you are working in the private companies, you cannot expect this thing to be like the one that you have read just now. Okay, it is dynamic, very progressive. They can have, they can have a sudden meeting. Tiba-tiba saja boleh ada. Alright, the agenda of the meeting is usually included in the notice, the one that I said. In the notice, surat panggilan mesyuarat tu mesti kena ada agenda sekali. Agenda number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, go on. The list can go on. Alright. Supaya apa agenda tu kena ada meeting? Sebab apa? Because if the agenda does not contain a meeting, then the group members couldn't prepare. The group members could not prepare what are the things to be discussed during the meeting. So when you include the agenda here and there, they will have the agenda in their mind prior to the meeting, and when they go to the meeting, their mental is already what we call that ready for the meeting. So this is the most important part. You need to screenshot, or you need to take a look, or you need to follow, because these are the things that you need to send to me. Remember, 3 things that you need to send to me: the notice of the meeting that we're gonna have online or offline, and the last one is the minutes of meeting of that particular meeting. 3 benda ni awak kena hantar kat saya. So format dia kalau salah, markah awak ditolak. So the format for the notice is something like this: date, time, venue of the meeting, the purpose of the meeting, the meeting agenda, the time limit for each agenda. This one is optional. Okay, people who will speak or present reports. This one is also optional as well. Okay, so in the agenda or in the notice, you should contain this kind of details. If you don't put this kind of details, your marks will be deducted. So jangan kata saya tak bagi warning. Alright. Okay, this one is for the meeting agenda. These are the things that you need to include during the in the meeting agenda. The first one is the chairman's opening address. Okay. The second one is for the apologies for absence. Apologies for absence ni sebenarnya kehadiran. Okay, we call that in English apologies for absence. That's why I said you have been to many meetings before, but in this kind of meeting, it is in English. So there are words that you don't actually understand, or maybe there are words It's not that I'm saying that you don't understand. You are not familiar with, because some of the words that will be used in the meeting are the words that, what we call that, a bit difficult to understand. Alright? Okay, so the meaning of apologies for absence is siapa-siapa yang tak datang. Ya, awak kena catatkan siapa yang tak datang. Alright? Confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting. This is another part. So when you are doing your first meeting, you will come out with the minutes of meeting, isn't it? Focus. When you are doing the first meeting, you will come out with the minutes of meeting of the first meeting, the record, isn't it? So when you are doing the second meeting, you need to somehow confirm the first minutes of meeting from the previous meeting before you can start with the new meeting. Understand? Later on, I will show you the procedure. But this one, I just want to introduce to you. Okay? When you are doing the meeting, the first is chairman is giving the opening address. The second is apologies for absence. The third is the chairman will ask anyone propose to confirm the minutes of meeting for the previous meeting. Macam tu. Kalau tak ada confirmation, meeting tak boleh berjalan. Alright? The next one is the matters arising. And then after that, other matters. And then after that, number 6, closing. Closing address. Okay? Alright? So that would be the meeting agenda. So minutes of meeting. So what is a minutes of meeting? It's a record. Okay, the minutes should record names of the members present and should be arranged according to the seniority. What is the seniority or the rank? Okay, for example, the first one is the chairperson, the second one is the secretary, the next one and the rest would be the committee members. Important matters discussed in the meeting, decisions made, every item discussed and recorded and should be followed by notes indicating any further action required or for information only. So in the minutes of meeting, you should have the right side, the remarks one, all right, whether this is the action of someone. For example, who is the person in charge for this particular task? Who is responsible for this kind of issue? Or maybe that is just for announcement. Faham Dekat minutes of meeting nanti awak akan tuliskan apa yang awak bincang dan katalah awak bincang tu berkaitan tentang a task that someone needs to complete. You need to write that particular name on that right side. Alright? To make sure that orang tu adalah orang yang bertanggungjawab untuk isu tersebut. Tetapi, however, if that particular issue or if that particular points is just for announcement, untuk pemberitahuan saja, tak ada siapa yang responsible for that, you just do that announcement or maybe information. Understand? Alright? Alright, okay, so these are the rules for the members or the participants, alright? I already explained in the previous video just now, but just look at that objectively or maybe just briefly watch what are the roles of the participant. As of course, okay, the most and important role for the interview, for the meeting is the chairperson. The chairperson needs to conduct the meeting. And in this assessment, all right, most of the marks came from the chairperson, all right, whether the chairperson can conduct or fail to conduct the meeting, all right. I'm not saying that you don't have any individual marks. Yes, you do have individual marks. But when we are looking at the assessment of this type of assessment, we are looking at collectively, all right. So we are looking at the how you discuss, whether you get the decisions or not at the end, and blah 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 blah. All right. Okay. So preparing for the meeting, you have to have a clear purpose. Okay. I will give the topic of the meeting a week before. All right. You should have an ample time to discuss among your team members to decide on what should be discussed. But I don't want it to be scripted. I don't want it to be like very dynamic, very what we call natural. But if I give you the topic is a bit late, it's gonna be like nanti kan makin teruk awak punya meeting. So I will give a week before. but please don't script your kind of meeting. All right, have a clear purpose, estimate the length. Okay, the length is very important. I don't want to go more than 30 minutes one group. You know, I've got 3 classes. One class I've got 8 groups. 3 classes means I've got the 24 groups. 8 times 3. Yeah, around that number. So I need to spend half an hour for each group. All right, so you don't go more than half an hour. If you go more than half an hour, for example, you are doing a meeting right now, and then you reach half an hour time limit, and then you don't come up with any decision, then your marks will be deducted. All right, create an agenda that is carefully scripted. For example, 1 2 3, lepas nak bincang apa dan sebagainya. When I say scripted here, it's not about your script to say it out loud. Tidak. Scripted maksudnya benda tu dah ada terang-terang, so you can do it naturally. Alright, deliver agenda in advance so that the members have time to plan and prepare for the meeting. Make every meeting a learning event so that the members could see the importance of attending the meeting. Use a variety of tools and activities to make the meeting productive and interesting. Alright, I'm planning to have the meeting online, okay, so that you can use your screen, what we call that, to present to me what are the things that you need to discuss, or maybe your agenda online, so you can have some interactive ways on how to show to the other participants. All right, preparing a meeting for group members. For group members, you need to know the purpose of the meeting. Of course, you cannot just go and attend the meeting without knowing what is the purpose of the meeting. You need to gather data, you need to know the agenda of the meeting, and then you need to arrive on time. Okay, so setting up the meeting place, you don't have to set up the meeting place. I think I'm gonna go online. So we're gonna have online meeting, all right, one by one group, like the one that you did during the job interview. You just have to use your screen to present anything, the one that you want to present. Okay, task in a meeting. All right, this one you need to take what we call that, you need to take attention a little bit. All right, there are words that is not actually familiar with you. Okay, so this is the task for the, what we call that, for the chairperson to start the meeting. I even prepare for you the words that the chairperson can use when to introduce the meeting. Okay, first of all, when everyone is there, okay, the chairperson needs to greet and welcome the team members, okay, the members of the meeting, to the meeting. All right, for example, good afternoon everyone and welcome, I'm glad you all could make it. All right, please don't be, okay, we do have different religions in your group members. For example, I'm Muslim, okay, there are Muslims, there are different religions, we need to respect other religions as well. So if you are using Assalamualaikum, Assalamualaikum, all right, please don't forget to say good morning as well, or maybe good afternoon, or maybe good evening. All right, it is because sometimes we tend to use Assalamualaikum and just straight away like that. Okay, for non-Muslim, they will, they can't respond on that. All right, so basically you just say like Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, welcome to the meeting, I'm glad you all could make it, and blah 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 blah. Just follow the example. Okay. To start the meeting, this is the procedure. You cannot miss any of this. All right, you have to follow one by one from the previous one just now, and then the next one you go for ask for apologies, even though you know that all your group members are there. All right, I know your group members are not that big, for example 6, or maybe the biggest number is 6 if I'm not mistaken, but you still have to ask for the apologies for absence. For example, the chairperson will ask like this: are there any apologies for absence, or maybe is everyone present today, dan sebagainya. Alright, if you miss this procedure, I'm warning you, your marks will be deducted. Why? Something like this. Just imagine if you go to the real world and then you need to conduct a meeting. Your committee members would be like, for example, more than 30, more than 40 in one big hall room. All right, you cannot count one by one and then just straight away go for the meeting. No, you need to come up with this kind of procedure. You have to ask who are absent. All right, so I want you to apply this for your real interview, for the assessment. All right, okay, next one, confirmation of the minutes. Okay, this one is very technical. All right, to confirm a minute, you need a proposal, all right? Someone to propose the minutes to be confirmed, and you need to someone that second the motion, menyokong proposal tu. For example, you have six members in your group. So the chairperson will ask, can I have someone to propose that the minutes to be confirmed? All right, the chairperson will ask like that, and then one of you needs to raise your hand and say, yes, my name's apa, I propose that the minutes be confirmed. All right, one person. And then the next person, all right, my name's apa, I second the motion. Maksudnya saya sokong benda tu. Alright. And these two people could not be the ones who missed the previous meetings. Understand? So these two people should have attended the previous meeting so that these two people can propose and second the motion. Kalau dua orang ni tak datang meeting yang sebelum tu, dia tak boleh propose untuk confirm minutes meeting yang sebelum tu. Faham? Kenapa? Sebab dia tak ada pun waktu tu. Orang yang boleh propose adalah orang yang berada dekat dalam meeting yang sama sebelumnya dan dia nak confirmkan minutes meeting tu. Then they can confirm and they can second the motion. If not, no, cannot. It cannot happen. Understand? So, tapi in your task, it's not going to be a problem because you need to attend every single meeting, right? So, I think everyone or anyone can propose for the meeting to be, minutes meeting to be confirmed. So, conducting a meeting. So, when you conduct a meeting, see, every single procedure, chairperson takes a very big role. All right? The chairperson is the one who conduct the meeting to make the meeting looks dynamic, to make the meeting could be like very, what we call it, to delegate the task, to ask opinion and blah, 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 blah. So, responsibility for the chairperson is to make sure that everyone has a chance to participate. During the meeting, the chairperson should encourage the members to express their opinions by using expressions such as, what is your opinion about this? What do you think of that idea? Should we do this? Should we do not? Why do you think we should? Can we have some more comments, suggestions, and blah, blah, blah. I want to listen to these kinds of words when you are having the meeting. All right, it's not that the chairperson is going like one-headed version. For example, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. Okay, the chairperson cannot be like that. Itu adalah, how I should say, macam apa it's not a good leader lah. Alright. So role of chairperson ensure that all group members hear the discussion, let the members present their points and guide the process. Okay. When the person is presenting, when your group member is presenting, then you need to anticipate. You need to help them. You need to encourage them to give more ideas and blah blah blah. Alright. Acknowledge and reinforce constructive contributions. Conduct meeting based on the agenda. Don't go off the track. Alright. Don't tiba-tiba cakap, petang ni nak makan apa ke apa. No. This is the very real one. Okay, vary the space, speed up, slow down or take breaks or whatsoever according to your preferences. Summarize the key point from time to time and ask for agreement from the members of the meeting. Jangan just ambil dan terima saja. You need to summarize. Okay, group members, he said like this. So, he thinks that if we do this, we could come up with that outcome. So, do you guys agree? Faham tak? Awak permudahkan apa yang dia explain tu kat orang lain. So, a chairperson should have a very good communication skill as well as language control. Okay? Okay, this is the other part, the most important part of the meeting. The chairperson, you need to come out with the word adjourn. ADJOURN, adjourn. The meeting is adjourned. You cannot say the meeting is over. Alright? The same way when you go to any banks, you have to write the check untuk mengeluarkan duit 35,000 sahaja. Faham tak? Sama benda tu. Kenapa kita tulis sahaja? Because of what? Because that is not the whole amount of your money. You have 50,000 for example. You have to come out. You want to come out with 35,000. So you have a balance for 15,000 more in the account. So you need to write sahaja. The same goes to the meeting. The meeting is not stopped or the meeting is not over. We will have another meeting that related to this issue. Alright. So you will say the meeting is adjourned. Meeting ini ditangguhkan dalam bahasa Melayu. Alright. So you can do this kind of way, three ways that I'm suggesting you. Alright, I think we have covered everything. Thank you for all your contributions. We'll meet again in 2 weeks' time, same and same place, and then the meeting is adjourned. Okay, all right. You need to decide on the next meeting before you end your meeting. Understand? This is the rule, another rule for the meeting. Okay, so when you are finishing your meeting, you need to set up for the next meeting. Otherwise, your mark will be deducted. Okay, these are three examples on how to make a closure to a meeting. All right, and then like this. Okay, the chairperson utterances used in the meeting. How to greet, good morning everyone, blah 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 blah. I like to call the meeting to order. Okay, ni perkataan-perkataan yang awak kena guna. Alright. I like to call the meeting to order. The meeting will begin now. Let us begin the meeting. Alright. And then, as listed in the agenda, the important items for the meetings today are number one, number two, number three. Alright. For example, if you want to introduce new members, you don't have to. But if you want to do, if in the future you want to introduce a new member, that is how do it. That's how you do it. Alright. For example, like this one. Can we refer to item number 3, attendance? What is the situation, Miss City? For example, okay, ni konon-konon lah. Alright. I propose the minutes to be passed. I second the motion. That motion dan sebagainya. Alright. Now coming to item number 4 in the agenda, matters arising. This is how you attend, how you conduct the meeting for the chairperson. Alright, gunakan ayat-ayat benda ni dan sebagainya. I propose that we purchase the education software developed by Intel, for example. Alright, let's have a show of hands from those who are in favor of the motion proposed. Ataupun dalam bahasa lainnya, you can say like this. Can I see can I know any one of you oppose or what we call that support the motion? In favor the motion dan sebagainya. So penggunaan ayat tu difference lah, alright. It depends on your language control whether it's go there or going down. But the thing is, if the meeting is what we call that smooth sailing, then it's gonna be okay. Alright, cuma perkataan-perkataan ni perkataan yang aras tinggi lah. Alright. So for the any other business, does anyone have any comments or proposal? Okay. Lepas tu sebelum habis kan awak cakap, we will have the next meeting in 2 weeks time at 10 a.m. Please take note. And then this is the part that you cannot miss. Thank you for coming. The meeting is now adjourned. See you in 2 weeks time. Perkataan tu perlu disebut bila what we call that towards the end of the meeting. Alright, before you end your meeting, you need to say that the meeting is adjourned. Okay. Alright, so next one, I don't think I need to explain one what we call that one by one, but you can have you can have this one. Alright, I already prepared to you guys the examples. Alright. I already prepared for you the examples on how to interrupt, how to clarifying. You can play this kind. You can use these words to play around during the meeting, but if you do not want to use this one, that would be okay as well. As long as people can understand whatever things that you are saying. Cumanya if you're using this kind of words, ia laras tinggi lah. Laras bahasa yang tinggi dan markah akan jadi lagi banyak. Alright, and this is the example on how to what we call that persuade, how to agree or disagree. For example, if you are completely disagree, you can say I completely agree with you. I completely disagree with you. I'm in a total agreement. I agree. I think you are right. That's very true. Persuading. Don't you think that? Okay, ataupun in view of all the facts that we have discussed, would you agree that I think we can agree that the best way to proceed would be to apa-apa-apa-apa. Alright? As I said, if you're using this kind of words, your marks will be a little bit higher. Alright? If you are just using a very normal word, it is okay as long as people can understand, but the marks is a bit like average mark lah. Alright, recommending, suggesting, I would like to propose, I wonder if I might suggest that, I'd like to suggest that after considering the choices, wouldn't you? Change topic, let us move on to, shall we discuss about, let us continue with our next agenda and blah 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 dan sebagainya. So basically, these are the examples that you can use as well as what we call that. You can have a look and you can try to memorize some of them to get maybe a little bit higher marks. All right. Okay. And this would be your task for this week. All right, this would be your task for this week. You already had in your group. You already have in your own group. Okay, so what you need to do is that you need to come up with a company name, logo, and organizational chart. It's very simple one. Okay, and then you want to have tentative business activities. What are the things that you like to do? For example, you maybe you are from FCAP, or maybe you are from FHKTM, or maybe you are from FPTP. If you are looking towards, for example, real estate, then you can go on with the tentative business activities that related to real estate. If you are FCAP, you are doing some civil engineering, you can focus on terms of what we call that, doing some consultation maybe, or maybe you can go on constructions, or maybe whatever things that related to your field. So this is your first meeting. This is your first meeting. So you need to decide your company name. You need to come up with a logo. You need to come up with organizational chart. This one is very simple one. You just go to, maybe you can use apa selalu kita pakai ni? I'm not sure, you are better than me. Alright, the logo, the company name, organization chart dan sebagainya. I totally forgot the name. I always use that particular software online. It's okay. You can use anything that you think it suits you. All right, and you come up with tentative business activities. How to come up with tentative business activities is very simple. You just go how big companies explain about themselves, then you come up with your own explanation. For example, we are expert in blah 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 blah, doing that, doing this, doing that, doing that. It is totally up to you. All right, if you want to become real estate property manager, or real estate property, what we call the executive, or you are the ones with the, what we call that, nak jadi, what we call that, um, I totally forgot the names and the terms. It is up to you. All right, it's up to you, to any companies that you like. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much. I will be explaining about the test later on in the WhatsApp group. Okay, I will list down what are the things that should be in the test, and I will give you all the materials that related with the previous studies. Okay, all right, I think that's all. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum.